What's up, everyone? It is Tim back with some wrestling videos. This is the yes, no, maybe so of the 2021 Royal Rumble. Right? If you haven't checked out our other video where I watched with Megan and the voice of Introvio, who you know from other videos and podcasts. So we watched the two first matches, the Goldberg Drew McIntyre match and Sasha Banks versus Carmella match. With Megan, who knew nothing about wrestling. So that was interesting to watch. Go ahead and check that out. But this video is the yes, no, maybe so's of the Royal Rumble. I go through the entire card, give it a yes, no, maybe so. It's been a while, so if you forgot, yes is it's good, and they should keep doing that and continue with the storyline. No is that it was terrible, they shouldn't have done that, makes no sense whatsoever. Maybe is, there's something there. Maybe the actual match wasn't great, but the story was good, or it may lead somewhere. And then so what? It didn't do anything for anyone, it didn't lead anywhere. It just kind of was there. So I did not watch the pre-show match. The pre-show match. But I did see the tail end of it. I saw that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler regained the Women's Tag Team Championships. I'm not giving that a grade. It's just mainly because I didn't watch it. It would just send everything up in time, and yeah. Alright, so first match, right? WWE Championship match. Goldberg challenging Drew McIntyre for McIntyre's championship. I give this one a yes. It was exactly what it needed to be. The story was there, even though it started off kind of weird. The story was there that Goldberg never won the WWE Championship. It's the one title that he never won. McIntyre is here now, beating everybody else up, right? And Goldberg thinks just wanted to beat him. It was a short match, like every other Goldberg match. Like finisher spam, a lot of claymores, a lot of spears, jackhammers, and yeah, that's just what happened. McIntyre won after second claymore. He hit one early in the match, and then Goldberg kicked out of it. It was a little, and then he got a spear and a jackhammer, and typical stuff. There was a tagging in the beginning of the match. McIntyre tried to get a leg up, but it was exactly what it needed to be. Short finisher spam match with Goldberg. They shook hands. Goldberg kind of said, "You know what, you're the real deal," which we all kind of knew by now anyway. But you're the real deal. So yeah, that match gets yes. McIntyre's going to move on to WrestleMania. So he's going to possibly face the winner of the Royal Rumble, which is what we'll get to later in the video. The second match was Sasha Banks defending her title against Carmella. This was their third title match, I think, in like 2 or 3 months. So I didn't expect much to happen. This definitely felt like a Royal Rumble filler match, as the 3 or 4 non-Royal Rumble matches are typically. It was what it was. It was good for what it was. It was a little short. I thought it could have gone like maybe 5 or 10 minutes longer. There was one part where Sasha went out of the ropes and Reginald, Carmella's valet, caught her, right? And then she did a hurricane run and tossed him and threw him into the steps, and then the ref kicked him out. So that was kind of weird, kind of like he didn't do anything wrong. If anything, he saved Sasha Banks, and Sasha shouldn't have attacked him, and he shouldn't have gotten kicked out, honestly. He should, but he got kicked out. That made Carmella all mad. They went out of the ring a few times. They did some other things. They hit, Sasha did the Three Amigos, went for a frog splash. Carmella got her knees up. She got the kind of silence on, and Sasha broke it. Eventually it landed in the bank statement. Carmella tapped it to the bank statement. I think it was only like an 8-minute match. Honestly, I felt like it could have gone like 10 or 15 minutes. But only an 8-minute match. But again, this gets a yes, but it doesn't get a very excited yes. It kind of gets a yes as in, you didn't mess anything up. Right? It was their third match. Carmella probably wasn't going to win the belt if she didn't win already. It'd be weird to change titles now going into WrestleMania. And Carmella is a good new character for Carmella, but isn't quite there yet. So it kind of, as long as they didn't screw it up, which they didn't, besides the weird Reginald getting kicked out thing. But it gets a yes, but it just gets a yes because it didn't mess up. It didn't go above and beyond. It wasn't like a fantastic match, but it just kind of, it was a good match. It wasn't a bad match. It was a good match, good short match. Kind of, is what it is. We kind of all expected for Sasha to retain. So it's a yes. The next match is the Women's Royal Rumble match. Right? This was pretty good. I'm not going to go through entrant by entrant. I do not have the time to do that. Or the time that you guys will. I'm going to say 1 through 30 who came out. A few highlights. Tori Wilson was back in it. Victoria was back in it. I knew Megan got COVID, so I'm hoping she's great. Keith Lee is probably also quarantined, which we'll get to in a little bit. But so they probably had to fill in a few extra spots, with Mia out, maybe some other people maybe got injured that we didn't know about. But yeah, we had a few people come back, like Victoria and Tori Wilson. They did miss barely getting eliminated by Bianca Belair, so Kevin Dunn, typical Kevin Dunn type stuff. But yeah, pretty good. I honestly thought Alexa Bliss was going to win it. She was my prediction before the match, and then I made my prediction in the middle of the match once everything kind of unfolded. Because Charlotte won it last year, Becky won it the year before, Asuka won it the first year. So it was like, who is big enough? Sasha's champion, so she wasn't going to win it. Bayley might have won it, but she kind of seems to be helping the mid card out a little bit. So I don't know. I didn't see anyone. I mean, my 3 were Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. I thought they were going to maybe push Rhea Ripley, but so enough people came out, got eliminated. Back on typical Royal Rumble stuff. A few good spots, a few good eliminations. Naomi came out, and this is where I draw the line. Naomi came out and she got eliminated, but didn't get eliminated. She fell out of the ring and landed straight on her back, but her feet were in the air. She was like all fours. That's pushing it for me. I honestly think, I know the both feet touch the ground. I think if you hit the ground in general, you should be out. You could still have creative spots with the wall and the tables and the chair and the steps, not the chairs. I mean, sometimes the chair. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's too much for me. It's too much. I feel like in the NFL, 1 knee down equals, 2 feet, and a hip equals 2 feet. So I feel like they should kind of adapt the rule. They're getting a little too far with these, pushing the limits of 2 feet in the ground. Naomi was literally on her back. Her back and her butt and shoulders were on the ground. Like, she's eliminated. But she pulled herself back in. She ended up getting eliminated later on. She pulled herself in with Bianca Belair's hair. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, so that spot kind of pushed it. But then the final 3 were Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Oh, before I get to that, Alexa Bliss came out at like 27, and she came out all playful and kind of like that Twisted Bliss character, not the dark fiend Bliss, but the Twisted Bliss. And she came in and she got attacked, and she got all angry. So then she tried to go all like twisted and like dark, and then Rhea Ripley just tossed her out, which is actually a pretty smart move. Just kind of attacking it before it happens. So she got eliminated, so my pick was off kind of fairly quickly, honestly. So the final 3 were Charlotte, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Charlotte got tossed over, but she was on the apron, and then both Rhea and Bianca were like, well, let's just eliminate her. So they eliminated her. Charlotte had this smile, oh, it's not over yet, but I don't know, I think it's kind of, time to move on. So it ended up being Bianca and Rhea Ripley. They had a quick little back and forth. At one point, they were both over the top rope, and then they both kind of looked at each other and were like, hey, let's just get back in the ring and start new instead of fighting on the apron. So that kind of showed a good sportsmanship. But yeah, so it ended up being Bianca ended up eliminating Rhea Ripley, and Bianca wins the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble, and she had pure emotion. She's so excited. You could tell that, when it finally happened, she couldn't believe it was happening. So she's getting a women's title shot at WrestleMania. I do think whoever she faces, she will win it. Her versus Sasha will be fantastic if that happens. Her versus Asuka will be fantastic if that happens. I do think she's going to pick Sasha, and I do think that Bianca will win. I think they're trying to start pushing these younger talents and hearing the feedback of the internet and the fans. So yeah, so that one definitely gets a yes. There were a few spots in there. Naomi's spot would get a no. There's with the women, there's only 5 actual people, and then when you eliminate people who already won it, and people who weren't in it, it was just kind of, you kind of knew it was going to be 1 of 5 people. But it was booked well. Enough spots, enough, no craziness, no stupid eliminations, no. It was a good winner, it wasn't you know, Peyton Royce won. You know, like, no offense to Peyton Royce, maybe next year when she works up a little bit, but you know, it was the right call. So Bianca Belair and the WrestleMania, congrats to her, but it's yes. Alright, next match is the Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens match. I'm sitting on my hands, I should have my hands out, I should be more animated. Hey, it was good, it was a little long, I will say that. I am giving it a yes, but not a good yes, if that makes sense. It doesn't get a no. It was a pretty good match with some good spots. It doesn't get a maybe because it's kind of, the story's over. It doesn't get a no because it wasn't that bad. So it does get a yes, but it gets kind of like an average yes. It doesn't get a oh my god yes. It gets an average yes because, again, it was a filler match. You know, this was their third title match since TLC. It was kind of weird that it went from a TLC match to a steel cage match to a last man standing match. But the story with Adam Pearce made sense. You know, at least they kind of made it work. There were a lot of good spots. There was Kevin Owens got thrown off the Thunderdome again through a table, a lot of chair shots, a lot of, you know, Kevin Owens was going for his legs. He got thrown off through a table. At one point he got speared through the like the LED lights, you know. You got speared through that and ended up rolling off the stage to beat the count, which I think is always a cool spot. You know, when you roll off and you land on your feet to break the count and then you just fall back down again, you basically get 2 10 counts to get back up. So I always like that spot. There, at one point they like traveled outside. They're in the backstage area, and you can actually see like the fence of the race and the pennants and stuff. So there was a practice ring. Kevin Owens like kind of made his way back, chasing after Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns came in and blindsided him with a golf cart. It was an awesome spot. I know golf carts have been done before. AEW is the most recent one. WrestleMania 17 is a famous one. So it's not exactly like new and creative, but the fact that he got blindsided and then just went through the windshield was kind of crazy. Then Kevin Owens like beat Reigns up a little bit. He put him onto a table, lifted up a forklift, got to the top of the forklift, and did a senton off the forklift through the table. That was kind of crazy. I thought he was honestly just going to put the forklift on top of him so he couldn't reach the count of 10. But he jumped off the forklift. Again, just a narrow beat count. Reigns kind of got up, stumbled, and went back down, kind of break the count. So they made their way back, and then they made their way to that little corner area between like the stage and the Thunderdome and like the audience. So they went there. It was a really creative spot and then a really bad spot. And that's part of the reason why it does get a yes, because it was the right result and it was overall a good match, but the ending kind of soiled it. You know, it's kind of like when you have a really good meal, but then your last bite is cold. You know, because it took a little while to heat, and then you're kind of like, well, that was a really good steak, but by the time I got to the end, it was getting cold. You know, so Kevin Owens handcuffed Reigns to like the other. It was a pole with the 4. You know, it's like a hollow pole, and it goes through. So he handcuffed him to the far end, and I honestly thought he could get up anyway. But he was on the ground, he was wiggling around trying to get out, and then the ref got to 9, and I was like, oh, he's not getting up. So Reigns pulled the ref forward, knocked him out. That broke the count, and then he stayed on. They waited a little bit. Paul Heyman came out with the key, and he couldn't like get it. And then the ref came out. He got to 6. The second ref got to 6, and then they like cut to Reigns and didn't show the count. It probably would have been like a 20 count, honestly. So the ending kind of got messed up. And then he got out, so Owens got up, and then they kind of did a little back and forth, and then Reigns just put Owens in the guillotine and choked him out for a 10 count. So it's kind of weird ending too. You know, I know the guillotine knocks you out, but like, for all these big spots to end very abruptly, it was kind of weird to me. I was hoping for like a chair shot or like, not to the head, obviously, but maybe a chair shot to the gut to affect his breathing. Maybe, you know, he slammed him to the wall a few times first, but he literally got undone and then put him in the guillotine, and that was that. So it doesn't get a yes, but it gets a very average yes. You know, if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably like a 5. You know, it's like an average. Alright, and then we get to the men's Royal Rumble. Alright, a few things. I will say it does get a yes. It gets the right winner. Right, it is the unexpected but good choice for a winner. It was a lot of good spots, a lot of good entrances, a lot of interweaving storylines. So Edge and Orton start out number 1 and 2. That was announced. They're battling a little bit, and they go outside. They go through the ropes, not over the ropes. They're battling outside a lot, right? And then at one point, Edge gets a chair and like just destroys Randy Orton's knee outside. So Orton goes down. He gets taken off. It was kind of obviously a work. Like the refs were on him, not doctors. They were cutting to him 50 million times. It was like every other shot was him. They did some backstage cuts of him. So it was obviously a work. Sometimes I just wish they were a little better with like trying to fool us. But Orton goes to the back. Right? People keep battling. A lot of Kane came out at one point. The Hurricane came out at one point. This is where Keith Lee did have COVID. I'm sure Keith Lee would have been in, which would have been awesome. But obviously with me and Yim getting COVID, he was probably quarantined if he doesn't have it as well. So there were a few legends that came out. Christian came out at one point, which was pretty cool. Carlito is back, looking jacked out of his mind. He's like 250 now. He's like 210 back in the day. Now he's like 250. So he's looking real good for his age. But he's back in the Royal Rumble. Enough people came out. I wanted Big E to win, and it felt like it was a very unpredictable winner. Like there could have been like 10 different guys who could have won, and you'd been like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I wanted Big E to win. Daniel Bryan could have won. They could have AJ Styles won. Honestly, that'd be a huge thing. There was a thing. This one kind of got me too. Kind of pushed lines a little too bit. AJ Styles had Omos, his big like 8-foot tall bodyguard. Almost at one point, Big E was on the ropes. He literally just went over the ropes and picked Big E over the ropes and pulled him over and eliminated him. And that kind of like, I wouldn't mind if Omos was saving AJ Styles, but for him to actually get directly involved, and he did this a couple times, it's kind of like, at a certain point, you gotta, refs gotta be like, kick him out. If they can kick Reginald out for saving Sasha Banks, they can kick Omos out for interfering with the match. I feel like, I know there's no rules or disqualifications, but I feel like you can't really do that. That's, again, pushing it a little too far. But, Daniel Bryan, I wanted Big E to win. My prediction was Daniel Bryan. I feel like Daniel Bryan might be on his way out, and it was the story that he's never won the Royal Rumble. He's won Money in the Bank. He's won multiple championships. Okay? He's headlined WrestleMania, but he's never won the Royal Rumble, and I thought he was. He made it to the Final Four, but then got eliminated. So Big E got eliminated by Omos, like I said. Edge ended up eliminating. Crap, I forgot who he eliminated. He eliminated someone to be the last person standing, but obviously Randy Orton was never eliminated, and we kind of all saw him. They tried to sell it, but everybody was like, really? So Randy Orton came in, hit an RKO. Tried to eliminate him, but Edge did the last minute reversal and tossed him over the ropes, and he won. 10 years to the day since he won his last one. It was unexpected. I thought they'd maybe continue the Edge Randy Orton storyline through the Royal Rumble and not, and then they'd have another WrestleMania match or something. But I guess with Randy Orton and The Fiend and Alexa, that's kind of happening. So, so Edge won. He's going to WrestleMania again, 10 years to the day. He won the Royal Rumble. Ooh. Uh-oh. 10 years to the day, he's going to the Royal Rumble, and apparently it'll be 10 years to the day since he gave up the World Heavyweight Championship back in the day. WrestleMania Part 2 is 10 years to the day. So that's kind of right there. If you don't do that, that's kind of right there. I'm curious to see who's going to face him, if he faces Drew McIntyre, or if he goes over to SmackDown and faces Roman Reigns. Both kind of ended their stories, so they're both kind of open. There doesn't seem anything going on. Edge versus Roman, Spear versus Spear, head of the table, and if Jey Uso is involved, you can get Christian involved. All this stuff, Heyman's involved. Like, I don't know, I think that both ways are good. Both bad. And then, Edge versus McIntyre is, again, McIntyre's whole thing seems to kind of be beating legends. He started off beating Ziggler and somebody else, and then he worked his way up to, he beat Brock Lesnar for the title at last year's WrestleMania. He Goldberg. He beats Big Show. He beats Keith Lee. So he's beating all these big guys. So it'd be interesting to see like the old school veteran wanting to get his title that he never lost back versus the new face. So it'd be cool. It'd be interesting either way. But it definitely gets the yes. I know it's all yeses, but there are only 5 matches and they all did what they needed to do. So overall, the show gets a yes. Yeah, with some moments here and there that I didn't like, but I'd rather take the big picture over some moments. Like the moments didn't kill what needed to be done. So yeah, so that was the Royal Rumble 2021. Ups, yes, no's, maybe. I almost said ups and downs. I am not Simon Miller. Yes, no, maybe so. All of them got yeses. Some moments got some so's and no's, but overall, it was a great show. Go ahead and watch it later today, possibly tomorrow, depending on when this video comes out. Raw, yes, no, maybe so will be coming out as well. I'm a little day behind. I kind of got caught up with some other stuff, but we are back. This is my goal, to get more videos out every week, every day. So here we go. So give us a like. It's my name at Tim Kinsella on YouTube. It is Squadcast, SQWADCAST on Facebook, Squadcast on Twitter, and my name on YouTube. Alright, so go ahead and give us a like, give us a share these videos, tell your friends, like these videos, comment these videos, tell me what you want to see. If I did a good job, bad job, whatever. Alright, if your opinion differs, a friendly discussion I'm always down for. So give us a like, share, and subscribe. Right? Don't forget to ring the bell, right, for Ringcast. I don't know, I'm working on my catchphrases. Alright, awkward outros. As always, I'm Tim. I'll see you for Raw. Yes, no, maybe so. Maybe later today, possibly tomorrow. And I'll continue on with NXT and SmackDown, as well as other videos and podcasts. So here we go. Alright, I've been Tim. I'll see you guys later. Squad out.